Let's discuss when two FOL sentences are necessarily equivalent or jointly satisfiable, and let's also discuss when given FOL sentences entail another sentence. To begin with, two FOL sentences A and B are necessarily equivalent if they have the same truth value on all interpretations. So for example, consider these two sentences. There is an x such that if fx then gx, and there is an x such that not fx or gx. These two FOL sentences are necessarily equivalent. And we are going to see in the next video how you can show that these two sentences are necessarily equivalent. Our proof strategy is going to be this. We are going to assume that there is an interpretation on which the two sentences have different truth values, and we are going to show that this assumption leads to a contradiction, licensing us to infer that they have the same truth value on all interpretations. Now, two FOL sentences A and B are jointly satisfiable if and only if there is an interpretation on which they both are true. So for example, the two sentences, there is an x such that fx and there is an x such that gx are jointly satisfiable. In order to show that they are jointly satisfiable, we simply need to find an interpretation on which both of these sentences are true. So this is any interpretation whose domain includes an object that is f and also includes an object that is g. Now, finally, a given set of premises, A1 to AN, entail a conclusion C if and only if every interpretation on which all of our premises, A1 to AN, are true, is an interpretation on which the conclusion C is true as well. So for example, the sentence, there is an x such that fx and gx entails the sentence, there is an x such that gx. Now, if you want to show that given FOL sentences entail a certain conclusion, we are going to start by supposing that there is an interpretation on which all of A1 to AN, our premises, are true, but the conclusion is false. And then we are going to show that this assumption leads to a contradiction. And that is going to license us to infer that every interpretation on which all of the premises are true is an interpretation on which the conclusion is true. So here are our three new concepts: necessary equivalence, joint satisfiability, and entailment. A and B are necessarily equivalent if and only if they have the same truth value on all interpretations. A and B are jointly satisfiable if there is an interpretation on which both A and B are true. And A1 to AN entails C if and only if every interpretation on which all of A1 to AN are true is an interpretation on which C is also true.